أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين الحمد لله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله بارئ الخلائق الأجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء حبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ثم الصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما ولي الله الحجة ابن الحسن صاحب الأمر والزمان اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين آمين رب العالمين أما بعد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم ذكر علي عباده صدق النبي وآمنا به زينوا مجالسكم بذكر محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه والعن أعداءه. أحبائي, the 21st night of Shahr Ramadan, the night in which the Quran an-Natiq ascended from the realm of this dunya towards the heavens. And you find that the killer of Ameer-ul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Ibn Muljim al-La'in, the manner in which he was treated and the manner in fact in which he was captured, shay'un ajib wa gharib. For the historians mention that Ibn Muljim al-La'in, when he struck Ameer-ul Mu'mineen alayhi salam while he was in a state of salat with a sword that was poisoned. And this was not any normal poison, rather it was a poison that was purchased from the furthest parts of the Roman Empire. A poison that was formulated such that when administered, there would be no one from the creation, from existence, that would be able to survive the intensity of this poison. And you notice that the Ibn Muljim al-La'in, together with a number of the Khawarij, when they got together to plan the assassination of Ameer-ul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, where did they do it? The historians tell us that in the year before, they gathered in the holy city of Makkah al-Mukarramah during the season of Hajj, and while being within the proximity of the Kaaba, in the divine season of Hajj, you find that these Khawarij, who used to recite Salat, who used to recite Quran, and the number, if not a majority of the Khawarij, were from those who had memorized the Quran in its entirety. Yet you find that Lu'ana like these got together within the city of Makkah to plot the assassination of the Imam. The place which was created to be the divine symbol of Tawheed, they managed to make it a place in which they planned for the greatest act of kufr. فَإِنْتَبِهُ أَحِبَّائِ, these are lessons and messages for us. وَإِنْتُمْ شُوفُوا, you have a look at the mannerism in which Hajj is performed, and you look at the types of parties that are involved inside, and you notice that history repeats itself. For subhanallah, they planned the assassination of Ameer-ul Mu'mineen in the season of Hajj, such that on a night like the 19th of Shahrul Ramadan, when Ibn Muljim al-La'in struck Ameer-ul Mu'mineen while he was in Salat, the historians mention that he struck Ameer-ul Mu'mineen with a sword right at the top of his head. And this strike was very close to the same place in which Amr ibn Abdul Wad had struck Ameer-ul Mu'mineen during the Battle of Ahzab. The historian goes on to say the manner in which Ibn Muljim struck Amir al-Mu'mineen, the cut that appeared on his head then stretched all the way to the part of the sajda. For you can imagine a strike of a sword on the center of the head, but the impact of that sword and the impact of the strike was such that it split the core skin all the way to the point of sajda for Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And as he fell to the ground and he was covered in his own blood, blood gushing from his wound down his blessed beard and onto his chest, he was reciting Fuztu wa Rabbil Kaaba, and the historians mention he would lift the khak in his mihrab. Wa antum ahibba'i, tonight is a night of Amir al-Mu'mineen, for your hearts are in Masjid al-Kufa and your hearts are in Najaf al-Ashraf. And you have been to the mihrab of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam in Masjid al-Kufa. The historians mention he was picking the turab, the khak, from the mihrab, and he was covering his wound with this turab. And he would say, we have been created from turab, and to this turab shall we return. For Masjid al-Kufa was filled with chaos as people were crying and screaming and surrounding Amir al-Mu'mineen. And at the same time, Jibreel descends from the heavens and he cries out, Tahaddamat wallah arkanul huda. Indeed, the pillars of guidance have been shattered today. Kutila aliyun al-Murtada. And at this time, the historians mention that Masjid al-Kufa was filled with a dark wind, a wind that blew so violently that the doors of Masjid al-Kufa were slamming open and shut. People were crying and surrounding Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba and Imam al-Hussein get to Amir al-Mu'mineen. And within all this commotion, Ibn Muljim al-La'in slips away from the masjid. How was Ibn Muljim captured? He was brought to the masjid al-Kufa and brought towards Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba. The historians mention that as Jibreel cried out and eulogized Amir al-Mu'mineen from the heavens, Tahaddamat walla arkan al-huda, this thundering sound from the skies was heard across the entire city of Kufa. And within this there is a lesson, because the ahadith tell us that on 23rd of Shahrul Ramadan, Laylatul Qadr, on which we are at the doorstep, the 3rd of Laylatul Qadr, that on the year of the dhuhur of the awaited master, Jibreel shall cry from the heavens. There shall be a cry from the skies that will be Al-Haq ma'a Ali. For this sayha, this cry of Jibreel, which you read in history, is one cry of Jibreel which you have to be prepared for in your lifetime. Everybody heard the sayha from Jibreel alayhi salam. At this point, Hudhayfa, who was one of the trusted companions of Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, was in his house. His wife comes up to him and she says, "Oh Hudhayfa, did you not hear the cry of Jibreel? Tahaddamat walla arkan al-huda, qutila aliyun al-Murtada, your imam has been killed." For Hudhayfa comes out of the house with his sword, and in the alleyway in which, or in the neighborhood in which he was living, the people were running towards the masjid. As he comes out of the house, he sees Ibn Muljim running in the opposite direction against the crowd, running right and running left, seeing where he can escape to. For Hudhayfa didn't recognize Ibn Muljim. He didn't know Ibn Muljim. He saw this suspicious character. And he says to him, when he saw him, he says, "Oh man, what are you doing? Where are you from?" He says that, "I am a traveler and I'm looking to attend to an affair which is extremely urgent." For Hudhayfa looks at him and he says, "Did you hear the cry of Amir al-Mu'mineen? Did you hear the cry of Jibreel that Amir al-Mu'mineen has been killed?" Ibn Muljim began to stutter. He says, "I have an important affair that I need to attend to." So Hudayfa says, why don't you come with me towards Masjid al-Kufa and let us find out whether what has happened to Amirul Mu'mineen. At this point, Ibn Muljim said, I have something more important to attend to. Subhanallah. Hudayfa says, woe be upon you, and what can be more important than safeguarding the life of Amirul Mu'mineen and ensuring that he's okay? For Hudayfa at this point got a doubt in his mind, and he went towards Ibn Muljim and he said to him, perhaps you are the one who have killed him. Ibn Muljim trembled, and instead of saying, no, I didn't kill him, subhanallah, he confessed at that point. And when he confessed, Hudayfa jumped upon him. He uncovered his sword and he cried out such that the people within the vicinity all came and they arrested Ibn Muljim. They tied his hands with ropes and they brought him towards Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba in Masjid al-Kufa. Amir al-Mu'mineen looks towards him covered in blood and he says to Ibn Muljim, was I truly such an evil Imam? Was I such an evil leader that I deserved to be treated in this manner? The people began to weep and they began to cry. For notice even how Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam deals and treats his enemies. For the narrations mention on the 20th day of Shahrul Ramadan, when the doctors and the specialists came to assess and see the wound of Amir al-Mu'mineen, when they saw the intensity of the poison, they said to Amir al-Mu'mineen, they said to Imam Hassan, the only thing we can prescribe is that Amir al-Mu'mineen should drink from yogurt, because perhaps this will ease and subdue some of the pain because of the intensity of the poison. This bowl of yogurt or milk that was brought for Amir al-Mu'mineen to drink from, when he looked at this bowl, he said, and give the same of this bowl to my killer Ibn Muljim, who was in prison. Yani, who was captured and imprisoned. This is mine and your Imam. Even to his killer, he ensured that there is mercy. Tayyib. And it is important for us to understand this point, because people will come forward and they say to us, well, if Amir al-Mu'mineen treated his killer with respect and treated not respect, because he treated his killer with mercy, Intum, why do you send la'na on the killer of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam? And you know that one of the mustahabbat for a night like this, and on the night of the 19th, was that 100 times you remove a tasbih, Allahumma lan qatalata Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. For people from even within our Shia, leave the mukhalifeen, those who claim to be from the lovers of Amir al-Mu'mineen, come forward and they question. They say, why should we send la'na on the killer of Amir al-Mu'mineen 100 times when Amir al-Mu'mineen showed mercy towards his killer? And the same argument then is extended towards Humayra because of the battle of Jamal, in that when the party of Shaitan, which she was leading, was defeated by Amir al-Mu'mineen returned her back to the city of Medina in a camel. For they say, because Amir al-Mu'mineen returned her with respect, Intum, you should not speak against them. Intum, you should not condemn them for their behaviors. Ahibba'i, they were not shown the respect for the status that they had, or they were not shown respect as if to downplay the significance of the crime. The manner in which Amir al-Mu'mineen treated Ibn Muljim and the manner in which Amir al-Mu'mineen treated Humayra was only and only to show us the principles in terms of the etiquette of war and the etiquette of how to deal with prisoners of war and the etiquette of how to deal with the enemies of Islam. Etiquette on how to deal with them is very different and does not mean that you condone their act or you cover up their mistakes. Abadan la. Islam has the rights that are granted towards the enemies and towards the prisoners, the height of human rights. Have you seen in today's prison system where the food that is given to a prisoner is the same type of food which is consumed by the head of state? Countries that call themselves, or countries that call for human rights, Ahiba'i, learn from the madrasa of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. For the la'na is sent upon them to disassociate and to condemn their acts of cowardice and to condemn their acts of oppression and to condemn their acts of oppression doesn't mean that when it comes to actions, you remove yourself from the fold of humanity. Ameerul Mu'mineen offering Ibn Muljim this milk or returning Humaira back in respect was only a courtesy in the realm of humanity or in the parameters of humanity, but in no way does it absolve them of their crime. A person who attacks another person while in a mosque in a state of salat, does he not deserve condemnation? Wahada, you find it is within the actions of Ibn Muljim that gives birth to the Daesh and the likes of Daesh and the thousands that they have killed within the masajid and within the Husayniyah. فأحبائي انتبهوا, person should not confuse this with that. To disassociate from these enemies is to disassociate from their actions and to make a public statement that you stand against shedding innocent blood, whoever it may be, in that sense. You find that this is the manner in which Ibn Muljim was captured, and this is the manner in which Ameerul Mu'mineen dealt with him. Tonight, Ya Ahibbai, it is a night of grief and a night of tears, a night of a'mal and a night of ibadah, a night in which our hearts are with Ameerul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And I would like for us to reenact and to live through the final moments of Ameerul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And I would like on this night to recite the Maqtal for you of Ameerul Mu'mineen. And I would like for you to take your hearts towards Masjid al-Kufa and towards Najaf al-Ashraf. And it is as if you were seated in the house of Ameerul Mu'mineen and you are with your hearts, you are witnessing these events that unfold in front of you. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Muhammad ibn Hanafiya states that on the eve of 20th of Shahrul Ramadan, I stayed with our father Ameerul Mu'mineen, and the poison from the sword of Ibn Muljim had begun to affect his legs. The intensity of the poison was such that Ameerul Mu'mineen was praying while sitting, as he was not able to stand. The impact of the poison and the intensity was such that it had begun to affect the muscles in the legs of Ameerul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. For indeed the poison that was administered by Ibn Muljim was one that was made to paralyze the entire body before the ruh departed from it. Ameerul Mu'mineen then spent the rest of the night until the time of Fajr, advising all the children and guiding us with his testimonies and his will. On the 20th day of Shahrul Ramadan, yani on a day like this, on the 20th day of Shahrul Ramadan, the people of Kufa had gathered outside our home. They wanted to visit Ameerul Mu'mineen and pay their respects towards him. They were allowed to come in the house in groups. They would convey their salams to the Imam and would reply back to, and the Imam would reply back to their salams. Ameerul Mu'mineen alayhi salam then would say, Ayyuhan nas, salluni qabla an tafqiduni, wa khaffifu su'alakum li musibati imamikum. O people, ask me before you lose me, and limit your questions due to the tragedy of your Imam. Hujar ibn Uday al-Kindi stood by Ameerul Mu'mineen and began to eulogize him, saying, Faya asafi alal mawla, Faya asafi alal mawla attaki, أبي الأطهار حيدرة الزكي. Oh, my grief knows no bounds in regards to the tragedy of the pious master, the father of the pure Imams, that Haydar who was purified. Hujr ibn Uday then began to weep, and Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam asked him, O Hujr, what will you do when you are summoned and you are called upon by Muawiyah to disassociate from me? Hujr ibn Uday replied by saying, Wallah, ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, لو قطعت بالسيف إربا إربا وأضرمت في النار وألقيت فيها وأضرمت لي النار وألقيت فيها لآثرت ذلك على البراءة منك. By Allah, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I would prefer to be cut up into pieces while I am alive with a sword, and then to be thrown into a burning fire, and for my ashes to be scattered, rather than to disassociate myself from you. Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam faintly smiled, and then he said, O Hujjar, if this is the case, you have been blessed with success. May Allah reward you on behalf of the progeny of your Prophet. As the house of Amir al Mu'mineen was crowded with visitors and others waited outside, Imam Hassan al Mujtaba alayhi salam came out and requested all the people to return back to their homes. Everybody left the house of Amir al Mu'mineen except the companion by the name of Asbagh ibn Nabata. He decided to remain seated by the doorstep of Amir al Mu'mineen's house. Imam Hassan al Mujtaba saw him and asked him to leave, but Asbagh ibn Nabata pleaded with Imam Hassan al Mujtaba, and he said to him, O my master, your words are the words of God, and I do not wish to go against you, but kindly grant me one more chance to visit my master Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba agreed. Asbagh ibn Nabata entered into the house, and then he goes on to narrate, فدخلت فإذا أمير المؤمنين معصب بإصابة وقد علت صفرة وجهه على تلك الإصابة، وإذا هو يرفع فخذا ويضع أخرى من شدة الضربة وكثرة السم. Asbagh bin Nabata says, when I entered into the house, I saw Amir al-Mu'mineen was lying down, and the color and the complexion of Amirul Mu'mineen's face was whiter than the bandage that was tied around his head. His face had become more pale than the bandage itself due to the intensity of the poison. Amirul Mu'mineen was in so much pain that he was lifting his legs up and sometimes putting them down due to the pain of the poison even in his body. Asbagh bin Nabata wept when he saw Amir al-Mu'mineen, and he said to him, O my Mawla, I wish to listen to one more hadith from you. Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam told Asbagh bin Nabata to sit down by his side. And then he said to him, O Asbagh, this will be the last hadith you ever hear from me. Allah, Allah, Amirul Mu'mineen, even in this state, is giving guidance to his lovers and to his Shias. And then he recounted the hadith, Amirul Mu'mineen then recounted the hadith where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam said to him, ألا وأني وأنت أبوا هذه الأمة فمن عقنا فلعنة الله عليه. ألا وأني وأنت مولاي هذه الأمة، فعلى من أبقى عنا فلعنة الله عليه. ألا وأني وأنت أجيرا هذه الأمة، فمن ظلمنا أجرنا فلعنة الله عليه. The Prophet said to Amir al-Mu'mineen, indeed, you and I are the fathers of this ummah, and may the damnation of Allah be upon those who violate our rights. Indeed, you and I are the masters of this ummah. May the damnation of Allah be upon those who transgress against us. Amirul Mu'mineen then fainted due to the intensity of the poison. And when he regained consciousness after a while, he was struggling to breathe. Amirul Mu'mineen was suffering from the intense pain due to the heat of the poison burning up the insides of his body. Muhammad ibn Hanafiya states, on the night of the 21st of Shahrul Ramadan, yani on a night like this, my father Amirul Mu'mineen gathered all the children around him, and he began to bid them farewell one by one, telling them that Allah is their protector and the best one to rely upon. And then he advised each and every one of them to have taqwa and iman. By this time, the effect of the poison began to spread through the body of Amirul Mu'mineen with an even greater intensity, until his blessed feet became red, and the feet of Amirul Mu'mineen began to swell up. Amirul Mu'mineen then said, I will depart from the dunya tonight and will be reunited with my beloved Prophet Rasulullah. He then said to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, فإذا أنا مت يا أبا محمد فغسلني وكفني وحنتني ببقية حنوط جدك رسول الله، فإنه من كافور الجنة. وجاء به جبرائيل. Once I die, Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen says to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, once I die, I want you to give me the ghusl, and I want you to shroud me in my kafan, and I want you to use the remainder of the hunut which was given to Rasulullah. For indeed, this is the kafur that was brought by Jibra'il from Jannah. Allah, Allah, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, how blessed are you that on your deathbed you give the wasiyah of a ghusl and a kafan and a hunut. But Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Karbala, when your son Aba Abdullah will lie without a kafan on the plains of Karbala, that Karbala, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, where the ghusl shall be given to Imam al-Hussein from the blood of his jugular vein. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, that hunut of Karbala, the hunut from Karbala will be from the blood of the neck of Ali al-Asghar. Amir al-Mu'mineen then goes on to say, and you should place me, and once and you should give the hunut to me that is granted by Jibreel from Jannah, and then you should place me in a tabut, and then you should lift only the backside of the janaza or of the tabut, as the front of the coffin will be raised by the malaika Jibreel and Mikael. Take my coffin to wherever the malaika take you, and place it where they guide you. You will find a grave that is already dug for me, for indeed my grave was dug for me by Nabiullah Nuh. Which is why Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba says, when we went to bury my father and we laid down the coffin where the malaika commanded, or where the malaika laid it down, I dug a part of the earth and I found a gravestone which said, "This is the grave of Ameer-ul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, dug by Nabiullah Nuh." Amirul Mu'mineen then goes on to say to Imam Hassan al Mujtaba, I want you to pray over my body Salatul Mayyat with 7 takbirat, and know that this cannot be done on anyone after me except the awaited Mahdi from the lineage of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. And after you bury me, Ya Aba Muhammad, conceal the whereabouts of my grave. And then Amirul Mu'mineen conveyed his final wasiyah, and he asked for it to be written down. هذا ما أوصى به أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب. أوصى أنه يشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله، أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. ثم إن الصلاة ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له، وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمون. Ali ibn Abi Talib bears witness that there is no God except Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam is his slave and the messenger of Allah. He was sent with guidance and the religion of truth, such that it may prevail over all the religions, even if the mushrikeen despise that. Indeed, my prayers, my sacrifices, my life and my death is for Allah, the Lord of the universe, who has no partner. By that we were commanded, and I am the first of all the Muslimin. أوصيكما بتقوى الله وأن لا تبغيا الدنيا وإن بغتكما. I advise you to remain, or I advise you to maintain taqwa, and do not be deceived by the pleasures of this dunya, even if the dunya with all it has comes and pursues you. Do not grieve on anything which you may have lost out, which is materialistic from this world, and always speak the truth, and act in expectation of divinely reward. وَكُونَا لِلظَّالِمِ خَصْمًا وَلِلْمَظْلُومِ عَوْنًا. أوصيكما وجميع ولدي وأهل بيتي ومن بلغهم كتابي هذا من المؤمنين بتقوى الله ربكم ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Always be an opponent to the oppressor and a supporter of the oppressed. I advise you and all my children, and I advise all the mu'mineen that receive this testimony of mine, fear Allah and do not die except in a state of submission to Allah. I advise you to maintain taqwa and to arrange your affairs and to maintain good relations amongst yourselves. And then the Imam went on to say, Allah, Allah fil aitam. By Allah, do not neglect the rights of the orphans who are amongst you. The Imam continued to advise them with treasures of wisdom until he went on to say, Allah, Allah fil Quran, فلا يسبقكم إلى العمل به غيركم. Allah, Allah fi jiranikum, فإنه وصية نبيكم ما زال يوصي بهم حتى ظننا أنه سيورثهم. By Allah, adhere to the Quran and do not be left behind by others when it comes to implementing the teachings of the Quran. By Allah, take care of your neighbors, for indeed it was the will of the Holy Prophet. Allah, Allah fi salat, فإنها خير العمل وإنها عمود الدين. By Allah, take care of your prayers, for indeed it is the best of actions and the core of your religion. Allah, Allah fi zakat, فإنها تطفئ غضب ربكم. Allah, Allah fi siyami shahri Ramadan, فإن صيامه جنة minan nar. Ameerul Mu'mineen went on to say, by Allah, take care of your zakat, for indeed giving of charity extinguishes the anger of your Lord. By Allah, take care of the fasting of Shahrul Ramadan, for indeed fasting is a shield from the fire of hell. Allah, Allah fi dhurriyyati nabiyyikum fala yudlamunna bayna adharikum ولا تخافن في الله لومة لائم يكفيكم من أرادكم وبغى عليكم. Do not fear the blame of the people. Amirul Mu'mineen goes on to say, Allah, Allah, in regards to the family of the Holy Prophet, ensure that they are not oppressed within your presence. Do not fear the blame of the people when you work in the way of Allah, for indeed He shall protect you from those who want to harm you. ولا تتركوا الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر. And do not abandon the Amra bil Ma'ruf or the Nahi Anil Munkar, for indeed the most evil of men are those who do not, for the most evil of men are those who rule over you. As a result, they become oppressors because you never adhered to the Amra bil Ma'ruf, and as a result of abandoning it, your supplications shall not be answered. Upon completing the final testimony, Sayyida Zainab al-Kubra asked Amir al-Mu'mineen. She said, O my father, Ayman narrated to me through my mother the tragedy of Karbala, and I wish to hear it from you. Is this true, O my father, Amir al-Mu'mineen? Amirul Mu'mineen said to Sayyida Zainab al-Kubra, indeed, O my daughter, it is the way Ayman told you. It is as if I see you and the other women of Bani Hashim being brought into this very city, frightened and terrified as prisoners with ropes around your hands and neck. Allah, Allah, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sayyida Zainab al-Kubra will be brought to Kufa with a rope around her neck and hand. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Shimmer will be whipping Zainab al-Kubra. Allah, Allah, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ibn Ziyad in the Dar al-Imara will be abusing you and insulting you in the presence of Zainab. فأمير المؤمنين says فصبرا صبرا O Zainab, have sabr. Amirul Mu'mineen then turned towards Abul Fadl al-Abbas and he began to kiss his arm. And he said to Abul Fadl, O my son Abbas, you shall represent me on the day of Ashura. Which is why they narrate when Abul Fadl met Amirul Mu'mineen, when Abul Fadl met Amirul Mu'mineen in the heavens after Karbala, Amirul Mu'mineen looked at Abul Fadl. Abul Fadl lowered his head and he said, Oh my father, I conquered the Furat, but I swear by the tarbiyah given to me that I never drank a drop from the wood. Amirul Mu'mineen then looked at Imam al-Hussein and then he said to him, Ya Aba Abdullah, Anta shahidu hadhihi al-umma وسوف أنت شهيد هذه الأمة وسوف تصبح وسوف تذبح ذبح الشاة من كفا. Ya Aba Abdullah, you are the matter of this ummah, and you shall be slaughtered in the manner that a sheep is slaughtered and beheaded from the neck. And then Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam turned towards Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba and he said to him, O my son Aba Muhammad, you shall be poisoned while you are oppressed. So have the patience over the tribulations. Amirul Mu'mineen then appointed Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba as the Imam after him. He made him in charge of the family and he asked for Abul Fadl al-Abbas and he kissed his arms for a second time. He said to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, you are in charge of the family now. All the children and all the relatives are under your care. And then he turned towards Abul Fadl al-Abbas and he said to him, my son Abbas, you in particular are in charge of my daughter Zainab al-Kubra. Which is why Zainab al-Kubra always felt safety around and felt safe around Abul Fadl al-Abbas, which is why Sham Ghariban, when they burnt the tent, the first call of Zainab was Ya Abul Fadl al-Abbas, where is the protector, the one who was appointed by my father Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam then appointed Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba as the succeeding Imam after him. He gave him the secrets of the Asma al-Husna and he gave him the Dhul Fikar. He then gave him the Aqiq ring and then he gave him the Mus'haf and the Jami' and he gave him the scrolls of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra. Due to the intensity of the poison and the deepness of the wound, Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam fainted. When he regained consciousness, he began to look at his family. Ya Shi'at Amir al-Mu'mineen. These are the final moments of our master Ali ibn Abi Talib. When he regained consciousness, Amirul Mu'mineen looked at his family for one last time. He said, and then having looked around, he said, I can see Rasulullah, Rasulullah descending from the heavens to come and receive me. Here I can see my brother Ja'far. I can see my uncle Hamza. They are here to take me towards the heaven. Allah, Allah. The sweat of death began to drip down the forehead of Amir al-Mu'mineen. فاستقبل القبلة وغمض عينيه ومدد رجليه وأسبل يديه. Amir al-Mu'mineen lied down facing the Qibla. He closed his eyes. He straightened his legs. Amir al-Mu'mineen straightened his arms by his side. He began to recite the Shahadatain. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Amir al-Mu'mineen then went silent. وحيدرا. Amir al-Mu'mineen went silent. وعليا. The ruh of Amir left his body towards the heavens. The body of Amir al-Mu'mineen lay down on the ground. Sayyidah Zainab al-Kubra shouted out, Wa abata, Ya Zainab, Ya Zainab. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. مات